Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ever-evolving Gundam Guys Podcast. I am your host and veteran Gundam viewer, Keenan, joined as always by the Chief Petty Officer, Jeff, because no one is more petty in life than my co-host, and that's why I love him so much.
I mean, yes, but also, you're just gonna put that out there, huh?
You can't deny it.
Just gonna blow up my spot right there.
Because, trust me, there's going to be a lot of pettiness going on in this episode. Maybe on my end, not so much on Jeff, we'll see.
He hates me because I'm beautiful.
If you're new to the show, it's all about taking a fun look at the Gundam franchise because I own a lot of it, and Jeff has only scratched the surface of how good or how insane Gundam can be at times.
I do like how you refer to that as you own a lot of it as opposed to you have seen a lot of it. You're like, I've got the Blu-rays lined up, ready to go, so I'm very smart.
Well, you see my shelves, and they've expanded.
I'm very excited for your expanding shelves. I mean, you see my shelves, but my Gundam shelves, not that impressive. I have 5.
But he makes up for that with his Power Rangers collection and his Sailor Moon collection.
Yeah, you want to see fucking shelves. Let me tell you about some shells.
Yeah, this man knows how to collect and display.
Damn straight. I hope to get a cat one day, and I'm very concerned about what I'm going to have to do with my shelves to make them cat-friendly.
Oh, see, that's why I'm glad that my shelves at least have a glass door on them so I can keep them shut, just in case when I do get a cat, they won't knock everything over and cause a big mess.
Okay, well, not all of us are part of the 1%, Keenan. We can't all be affording those glass doors for our shelves.
If I'm the 1%, then why am I renting for the rest of my life?
Well, that made it sad. So moving on.
Although, some fun news about me is I may be fully employed again.
Yay! Ooh, all right. You're going to have to text me about this after the show.
Yeah, we'll talk about it off mic.
I need details.
But how have you been, Jeff?
I've been good. I'm even more excited now that my friend might be back in the old employment game.
Yeah, that's fun and exciting. This episode is a surprise hit with the both of us.
It was really good. I was very excited. I was like, ooh, a good one.
So from here, as everybody knows, normally what we do throughout the podcast is we go through scene by scene. I have a whole bunch of notes for that, but this episode we're going to change the format a little bit. I talked about it with Jeff just before we started recording, so we're going to try it out. So far, I enjoy looking at my screen instead of looking at my horrible writing. I can actually understand what I'm reading, and I think at least for me, I've condensed my points, so I'm not going to get lost in my notes, as it were.
I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm here, I'm excited, and I'm along for the ride, as always, with my dear friend Keenan.
But before we begin, Jeff, this is one of the few things you have left as a part of the Gundam podcast, since you don't run the Twitter anymore.
Oh, really? Oh, we're just gonna be like that, huh, Keenan? You're just gonna call me out like that for not running the Twitter. You're just gonna shame me in front of everyone. You know what? That upsets me. You know what upsets me almost as much as when some motherfucker come up in here and try to tell me I can't have a snack while I'm watching some anime. But here's the thing, Keenan. I did not eat a snack. You know what I did? Because I'm the Garfield of podcasting. I took a fucking nap. Then I watched it. It was great. So this week, for 1 week only, I did not snack. I napped.
My God.
Because no one can tell me that I can't rest my beautiful eyes before I witness the majesty of a wonderful episode of Gundam. And let me tell you, I went to sleep. I dreamed away all the bad episodes. I woke up. There was a good one.
It's a miracle.
And here we are. You're welcome.
All right, then. I guess I'm going to have to basically save the segment with what I have. I'm sorry. I'm being very saucy today.
It's just drag Jeffrey Day up on the Gundam Guys. Jeffrey doesn't do the Twitter. Well, let me tell you, if Jeffrey was on the Twitter, we would be talking about Deca Ranger, which is the Sentai version of SPD. And let me tell you, it is a very uncomfortable watch because not only are they all policemen, but their whole thing is, if you ever watched SPD, they arrested people. That was fine. In Deca Ranger, they execute people on sight, and they call it that as well. And it is very stressful because I'm like, ooh, like I know in all other Sentai and Power Rangers they destroy the monsters, but they are not that explicit. And in one of the cases, one of the guys who was objectively horrific, yes, was like, I'm going to tell my father. And I was like, oh, these people have families who they just murder right there.
Wow.
It is a very uncomfortable show. Also, plotting could be better.
Sidebar, since you brought up SPD, SPD was one of the last Power Rangers that I've actually watched to completion, and I believe the last Disney Power Rangers that I've seen, at least in my recollection. And SPD was really good.
SPD is really good. It is one of the few seasons that I think is just objectively, I think it is better than its Sentai counterpart, especially with this mess.
Yeah, apparently with public executions and
Okay, so you know how they hold out the badge and that does the "Are you guilty or not guilty?"
So in the Sentai, it actually kills them.
No, that doesn't kill them. But what they're saying is not "Are you guilty or not guilty?" It's saying, "Do we have permission to execute this person?"
Good Lord.
It is very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I bet.
That's how my week is going, and that's what you would be hearing if I was on the Twitter. However, my life has been great because I'm not on the Twitter, even though I do miss y'all, and I do sometimes pop in there, which I shouldn't, but I sometimes do just to see, not onto the Twitter, but as a like outsider, like through like Google, and I just look and I see like our people, like our boy, like who burnt the popcorn, finally got to our first episode. I was so excited when he found out he was absolutely correct. He just was enough off that I could lie to his face about us recording.
We're so happy about how that episode came back and surprised everybody, and how excited everybody seemed to be about the episode with the both of us coming back after so long.
It's just so nice. It just feels so nice to come back. I love doing this show.
Now, about the snack segment. So, as usual for me, what I tend to do with my snacks is just forego the snacks and
make a full fucking meal.
Yes, I usually cook myself lunch. So, what I did is to make up for the fact that Jeff doesn't have a snack this time.
Okay, you did not know that before you made your alleged snack. Thank you very much.
It's true, but this is a very good coincidence.
Y'all, he is out of control today.
Sorry, I'm riding high from all the praise and
from everyone telling you how wonderful the first episode is, and you being like, well, I did do all the work on it other than Jeff's commentary, so yes, it is pretty great.
But that's okay. That's why Jeff's here, to remind me of how I need to be humble every now and then.
Yeah, I'm here to remind you how mediocre you are, except when I tell you how wonderful you are. It depends on the episode. It depends on how fucking sassy you get with me in that episode.
Just remember who's in control of the editing.
Keenan, have I ever told you that you're my favorite?
Anyway, so what I did is I made my family's recipe for mac and cheese.
You never made me mac and cheese. How dare you?
I was saving it for a special occasion.
Keenan, we're literally getting together for a special occasion in a few weeks.
Yeah, but we don't know exactly when. We haven't worked out the schedule for it yet. So, you want me to describe to you about my family's recipe for mac and cheese?
I would love to. I'm dying to know.
So, you know what the secret ingredient is?
If it's onions, we're going to have a very serious talk.
No, it's not onions.
Thank God.
Although my side dish had onions.
Sorry, don't know where that came from. It must be because you're eating the devil's vegetable.
Anyway, the secret ingredient in my family's recipe for mac and cheese is flour.
That sounds lovely. So it's like a real, like, baked mac and cheese. So it gives it some like, oomph.
Yeah. So what I do with the flour is I mix it in with butter and the milk, and it kind of makes like a thick roux. And then I take that and pour it over the boiled noodles, sprinkle the cheese, 2 layers, put it in the oven, 350 for about half an hour, covered, and then 15 minutes uncovered, and that's it.
Oh, fuck. That sounds so good. That sounds amazing.
Super high in fat, but very tasty.
Oh, if you're going to have mac and cheese, like, get out of here if that's not what the plan is. I mean, yeah. I mean, even if you're doing like, oh, remember at work we had that ballin' vegan mac and cheese truck?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, even if you're going vegan, it still should be fatty. And that was that.
Yeah, and they did toppings with the mac and cheese. Like, you could get like roasted duck on it.
Yeah, the vegan duck, but you could also get non-vegan options. So I did get bacon, like real bacon, on my vegan mac and cheese. So it was a little give and take. But the vegan mac and cheese was, I tried their regular one once. It was not as good. The vegan mac was where it was at. But yeah, I'll have to, when I come over, I'll have to make something on my end as well. I did make, because I had a friend in town, I made ricotta cheese chocolate chip cookies. They need a little something to give it like a little bit. The dough was a little bland and they need a little something, but the texture was outstanding. And because it had the ricotta cheese in it, it stayed moist all the time. It never dried out.
I never would have thought of that.
It was delicious. I also made some with miso that were really good.
Miso cookies?
Yes. It was something I'd heard of before, so I decided to make them. I think they actually tasted better than the ricotta cheese cookies, but I liked the texture better of the ricotta cheese. It was a good give and take. They were both very good. I'll have to make them for you.
I would love to have those. Those sound delicious.
They were, and here's the sad part about them, is that chocolate done fuck my body up. So I can only have it in small amounts. However, if you bake yourself a dozen cookies with no one to share them with, and also still have half a thing of batter, that makes that whole plan very difficult to execute. So I ended up having, after like my body was destroyed on the first day, I knew I would keep making them because they were so delicious. So I did dump out the remainder of the mix, and I was so sad.
Aw.
Because it was so good. And now that I think about it, I should have just called you to come over and eat cookies.
I would have done that.
I know. I did not think of it at the time, but next time. So I'll have to bake you some cookies.
No, I get it, because like I grew up in a family where we were always taught not to waste your food. You finish your plate.
It's not even just that. Like, I didn't want to waste the dough, but also it was either that, but I knew if I kept it in my fridge, I would eat it. And then I would feel sick again because I am eating just endless quantities of chocolate chips, including some of the dough straight, which you were not supposed to do.
No, but cookie dough's real good.
It is, and let me tell you, this cookie dough was fucking ballin'. I made an excellent cookie dough. I'll have to make those, and you can make your baked mac and cheese, and we'll just have a nice baked day. Not the way everyone else has a nice baked day, but in our own way.
Now, my side dish, which I'm not going to make for you because it has a whole bunch of things that you probably can't stand, including onions, is a little thing that I learned to cook over COVID called green beans amandine. It's French cut green beans cooked with onion, almonds, lemon juice, sprinkle it with salt and pepper. It's very tasty, good flavor, but green beans and onions sound like death to you.
I don't mind a green bean. I can do green beans. I usually, if they're like buttered and if they got a little like butter and garlic or a little something with them, it's onions that are a hard pass. It's very, because the problem with onions is texture, and there's no way you can get around it for me.
Oh, I get that.
It's not so much a flavor. Like, I love onion soup. No, I hate the flavor of red onions. That I will say. That is a flavor and texture situation.
What about shallots? Because shallots is actually what the recipe calls for.
Shallots, the texture's still a problem. It's still got that problem. I don't really know about the flavor. But like, I like onion soup, but I leave a pile of soggy onions at the bottom of the bowl.
What the lemon juice does for it is that it makes the onions taste more like lemons. Kind of absorbs a lot of the juice.
And I like onion rings, but only if I could do one clear bite through them. Like, if I take, you know how if you take a bite and sometimes the onion will start coming out of the ring with you? That onion is dead to me. And then I just eat the ring. But if it's like an onion that is so like cooked that you can easily bite through it and not even really feel the texture of the onion, then I can do it.
Gotcha.
If it's basically baked like a Funyun, I'm fine.
Yeah, so green beans amandine, definitely not for Jeff. Mac and cheese, yes.
Yeah, that sounds so good. I can't wait to try it, and I'll have to whip out my fancy chocolate chip cookie recipes for you and see what I can do to spice up our friend Jimmy advised like maybe a little like zest of something in the ricotta cheese cookies, so we'll see.
He did also make really good cookies when we worked together.
He's who I got the miso from, which is where I came up with the idea of making miso cookies, because I was like, I don't like miso soup, so I really only have one other option to do with this. Because when he moved, he gave me all of the leftovers from his pantry, so I've been able to cook all kinds of weird, fun things.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Jimmy's a really good cook.
He is a fabulous. His husband's the really amazing cook, and Jimmy is the spectacular baker. Jimmy's also a perfectly good cook, but his husband is just like, because he would make like the Thanksgiving dinners, and then Jimmy would make the desserts, and just like,
Now, with all that, I think we definitely made up for no snack today.
Yeah, I hope y'all are hungry, because I am.
So I think it's time that we talk about this episode of Mobile Suit Gundam. Are you excited, Jeff?
I'm really excited. It was a very good episode, and it was a good episode in that it made me feel a lot of emotions, not all of them positive ones, but it was very good.
Agreed. I have a lot of thoughts that I put down onto my notes about how I feel about certain people in this episode.
Yeah, I had a lot of thoughts about certain people as well, but actually, no, I'll wait till we get to it in your summary. But it was a big day for me, Keenan. Big day. Everyone out there knows it's a big day for me.
It's a big day for both of us. This is something that we've been hyping up since episode 1.
Someone literally made a fan Twitter account based on this joke. The joke that finally came to fruition today.
Yes, we first had the baby.
No, but this came with the baby because it was the same episode.
Yeah, but we found the baby first.
We actually, the Where's My Baby lady showed up in episode 2, and that was wrapped up by like episode 8 or 9. This particular joke, which everyone knows what we're talking about, but I'm saving it until we get to that moment.
Yes, you're right. We started the joke, but the resolution didn't get resolved until now. Baby got resolved, like you said, in around episodes 8 or 9. That being said, this is episode 32 of Mobile Suit Gundam from 1979, Farewell Inside 6. It aired on November 17th, 1979 in Japan and September 4th, 2001 in the United States. And what we're going to do here, instead of what we used to do, is I'm going to go over a brief summary of the episode. Again, brief for me, because if Jeff, we talked about this off mic a little bit, if Jeff saw the quote-unquote brief summary that I have, he'd look at me and say, Keenan, I don't see anything different.
The story checks out. I haven't seen your summary, but I've met you. And I am friends with you, so pretty much, yeah. I believe that you're like, oh, I really pared it down. It's only 17 pages now. Great job.
It's 4 paragraphs. I think that's an improvement.
No, that's not bad. That's like a middle school term paper. So you're paring it down. You've broken it down from a thesis.
So the show kicks off at the main headquarters of Zeon Space Attack Force, the Space Fortress Solomon, this big old asteroid. This is Vice Admiral Tinyhead's turf. Dozel has a bone to pick with his sister, Cassilia, since she brought Char back into service under her command after Garma's death. Jeff, you remember that Dozel kinda had an issue with Char for the fact that he was responsible for killing his baby brother Garma.
Here's what gets me about this. First of all, I love that we get to see Dozel's home. And also, it thrilled me to see that he was properly proportioned this episode. But what got me the most, and what blows my mind the most, is that Dozel is somehow the smartest motherfucker in this family. Because still to this day, because yes, he was the one who was like, we should execute Char for leaving Garma out to dry. Now, granted, as we've already spoken in regards to Sentai, me, not a fan of executions, and Dozel didn't really have the evidence to back it up. However, he was accidentally right. Like, Char is trying to kill them, and Dozel's the only one who's been like, yeah, we should not fuck with him anymore. And Cassilia's like, no, it's fine. And I'm like, Garma thought it was fine too, girl, but you do you. And Dozel, I love to this point, is like, okay, well, I can't get her to ditch him, so I'm just going to make him look fucking useless, and then hopefully that will remove the Char problem. Dozel, while has not figured out what Char's actually up to, is the only one who's like, hey, maybe we don't mess with him. So, props.
And how does Dozel plan on trying to humiliate Char and prove how useless he is?
Oh, doing something that no one else has said they're going to do before. Something totally new plan. No one has ever come up with this, and certainly no one's had problems with it. He's I'm sure this is going to go super smoothly for him. He's just going to destroy the white base, and that will take care of everything. Easy job. Easy. Never been a problem.
Stroke of genius.
Perfect. His score on the intelligence scale really dropped real quick for me, Keenan, in the course of this episode, where I'm like, see, Dozel's on top of it, and I'm like, Dozel's a fool. Because yet again, I'm like, and I have this with notes for later in the episode as well, the same thing. Does no one talk in Zeon? Has no one figured out that maybe just like send the whole army at this point? Like, only one person was able to technically defeat White Base, and even he wasn't smart enough to finish the job.
Also, a hilarious side note that they used to kind of explain something from the last episode. You know that one little slice of plot that we got in the last episode about the fleet going to Luna 2? That tiny little thing? It's relevant now.
Oh, yeah. Is this where... Wait, is this Isn't this where Dozel's supposed to be worrying about that, but he's more concerned with, like, fucking up Char?
Dozel would send pretty much everything in the kitchen sink to go after Char. But now, because that the Tianum fleet of the Earth Federation is assembling over at Luna 2, he's like, well, I can't really send my whole army after Char as much as I would like to. So I'm going to send over this group of people led by Conscon.
Love this man. Love this. I had this guy pegged from moment one. We'll deal with it when you get to him. But he is... love him. He's great.
So the Conscon Mobile Assault Force, comprising of 3 ships and a whole bunch of mobile suits, are going to go after the Trojan Horse, aka the White Base. Speaking of which, White Base is going to go over to Side 6, as established at the end of the previous episode. But before they arrive, the gang of Kai, Sayla, and Amuro are patrolling the nearby space area to make sure it's safe. Turns out it's not so safe after all. They discover a new Xeon mobile armor being tested near some floating meteorites. It's called a Brow Bro.
Was I supposed to understand how it worked and how it could shoot from one place really far away while also being in a different place? Or that was not revealed yet, correct?
I mean, it's kind of a loose thread, in my opinion.
Because they didn't really, like, explain it. Also, the character, the lady pilot, or who seems to be in charge of this operation from the Xeon side, who I will be calling Xeon Mirai, love her because she is literally doing her best and everyone around her is an idiot.
Correct.
And she is very vocal about their idiocy, which I enjoy.
To the point where the crew of the Browbro try to avoid the conflict, except for one of the pilots gets a bit antsy and starts firing on Sayla and Amuro while they're in the G-armor as they're approaching where they're hiding.
He's like, they were going to shoot at us. And she's like, no, they weren't, you fool. Why are you doing? They're going to shoot at us now, for sure.
Now, I guess what makes the Browbro sort of unique as far as mobile armors is concerned is that it has wire-guided laser cannons, and you see a little bit of it where it retracts back to the ship.
Oh.
But as far as the other like intricacies of what they're hinting at, it's kind of dropped once the battle is over. And they don't address it again for the rest of this episode.
Well, nor could they, because if I remember correctly, that was the prototype, and they done blown it up.
Half of it. They blew up half of it.
And we don't have a lot of episodes left, so I'm like, is this going to show up again in this show, or is that going to be a Zeta thing? I
will neither confirm or deny if it comes back.
I hope she comes back. She was great. Loved her.
She was great. No name for this character, though.
Well, she did not have protagonist hair, so I don't think, or antagonist hair that made her stand out, so I don't think we're going to see her again, but I did like her.
Hard to see with space helmet on.
She looked like, what's her face from Gundam Wing? Not Noin, the one who had multiple personalities.
Oh, Lady Un?
Yes. She kind of had a very 70s Lady Un vibe.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, that's a very good comparison.
Thank you. I'm very good at this, actually. I'm glad you see that.
That's why you're on the show.
Oh, I'm a dream.
Fighting broke out, as we talked about. The G-armor splits up, the Gundam comes together, and the team of Amuro and Sayla dispatch the Browbro, and like I mentioned, the other half jettisoned away to maybe be addressed later. Afterwards, when White Base arrives in the neutral colony area around Side 6, they are brought in by the district attorney of the colony, whose name is Cameron Bloom.
I fucking love this. I love that there's DAs in space. I can't even. I was like, it was with all of the weird shit. Like, yes, okay, like all real military positions we have seen. That's fine. Well, I was very surprised, but when they were like, the district attorney is here, and I was like, no, there isn't DAs in space. I was not prepared. I found that very amusing. I don't know why I found that very amusing. Now that I think about it, it does make perfect sense that there would be, but I was just fascinated. It was just, to me, a very surprising, specific thing from the real world that they were like, yep, let's throw a important side character in here and have them be like the local DA.
Yeah, because what the show doesn't really tell you is how really all of the politics and governments really work in tandem, because the Earth Federation owns the majority of the colonies. But what they don't tell you is that a lot of the colonies are kind of like their own nation state. So they have their own installed governments within the colony, and hence why you have people like Cameron, who's the district attorney of this particular colony, and why Zeon went to war with the Earth Federation over the fact that they don't want the Earth Federation telling them what to do.
Zeon Side 3.
That's correct.
So are they kind of like, so are each of the colonies kind of like a country, and then the Earth Federation is like a militant United Nations?
Yes, that's actually correct.
Like if the United Nations, instead of being like a peace, like a ambassador peacekeeping, attempted peacekeeping type thing, is instead like an overarching like military body.
Yeah, they're sort of like NATO in a way.
Yeah.
And each of the different sides, which are clusters of colonies, do operate as sort of their own, in some cases, republics, or in Zeon's case, a dictatorship.
Oh my God, is the first season of Gundam just Brexit?
It's a little bit more of a violent Brexit.
I mean, yes. I mean, well, and you know what kills me? I was thinking about this today. This is called the 1 Year War, correct?
Yes.
I assume that means it takes place in the course of 1 year.
Yes.
What we were told at the beginning of the show is that half of the population of both sides is dead. aka half of the population in the world, in space / on Earth, dead. You would think people would talk about that more in the show. But then I thought about the current world, and I was like, you know what? They probably wouldn't.
Probably wouldn't. Also, we now have 40 plus years worth of expanded content to help with that.
Yes. Well, that's good, because I was like, here's the thing. I was like, over 600,000 people have died of COVID. Weirdly, does not come up as much as you think it would. So actually, it's less surprising that half of existence was killed and no one really discusses it. You would think it'd be a bigger topic.
I think a more apt comparison instead of Brexit would be like more of like how certain armed revolutions happen in the Middle East and in Europe.
Gotcha.
But yeah, from here, since we were introduced to Cameron now, we've, as established in episode 30 from Mobile Suit Gundam, A Decoy in Space, this is Mirai's arranged fiance.
He's just a little nerd.
He is a bookworm.
He kind of looks like me. It was very upsetting.
I didn't actually draw a comparison between the two of you.
I did. I was like, oh, he's heterosexual Jeffrey. That's who that is.
Well, if you're feeling awkward, then I can't begin to imagine how awkward Mirai must have been. Because when they start meeting, it looks like she's kind of playing nice.
That was an excellent transition, Keaton.
I got you. But we'll talk more about the two of them and their relationship a bit later, including how Captain Bright feels about it, too. Because there is one little thing that happens when this meeting occurs that I thought was really... It was short and subtle, but very good storytelling.
Is it how he did that thing that you do in a movie theater when someone kicks the back of your chair and you just, like, angrily glance over the shoulder?
Kind of, but again, we'll get into that a bit later. So we know that this is a neutral colony. What that means is no war is allowed. And the government of Side 6 can't support either side. And that's what Cameron Bloom is here to tell White Base, is that, yeah, we'll bring you in, but we're not going to fix your ship. We're going to mark your ship with red tape. And what that means is if the ship goes out and they find out that the tape is broken, that means they use their weapons within neutral territory. And that means a hefty fine for everybody on White Base.
I genuinely really like this, and I liked how it was handled, because in every other, like, I've watched the Clone Wars. I know how it goes down when you're a neutral planet. It does not stay that way for very long. However, they actually, like, everyone was taking seriously, like, this is neutral space, and we are not going to fuck that up.
And that goes for Zeon as well, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, was not expecting the actual respecting of the neutral space.
Because so far, every other leader in Zeon really didn't give a shit about any sort of treaties or regulations. I mean, remember Mikuve fired a nuke.
Mikuve, yeah, Mikuve's a great example. But not to jump, but like, what's his name? Ponscom?
Conscon, but I think your name is actually more appropriate.
Thank you. Yeah, he literally, it's like when you're driving too fast on the highway and you have to come to a quick stop so you don't like rear end the person in front of you. Like as soon as they're like, he's like, ee! We are not going in there.
But he's got plans.
We will wait for them to come out. Char literally is like, I don't want to start an international incident. Let's not.
Yep. Now that White Base is in this colony and they can't make repairs, they have a little bit of downtime. So what do? A couple of the crewmates go out with Amuro, Frau Bo, the three kids, Kika, Let's, and Cats, and Mr. Out of Salt himself, Chef Tamura.
I was so excited to see him again. Also, since then, have realized the importance of salt. Now that I cook, I'm like, wow, you really need salt for everything, or else you will not be able to taste anything. Also, it is important for your body to have in smaller quantities than I have it.
Yeah, it's true. Too much salt is very bad.
So my doctor keeps telling me.
So this gang goes into the city in the colony interior, and they go to a local grocery store. And when they come out of the grocery store, Amuro spots his dad at a bookstore across the street. It's Hot Dad.
Ow, ow! Yeah, he does. And let me tell you, Hot Dad got a haircut and is looking even better than when we first saw him. He is, Keenan. And I gotta really enjoy this now because it's about to get sad. So I'm just gonna really enjoy it. Well, we got it. Hot Dad is back and he looks fucking fine.
So, since it's been so long since Amuro has seen his dad, he splits up from everybody else and he chases after his father.
And by chases after his father, you mean he chases a bus for 3 blocks?
Yes. Past multiple stops.
And then before he literally chases the bus for the length of the father's ride, and it is more than one stop. And you just watch him yelling Dad! Running. Bus stops, let people off, keeps going, Dad! Keep running. And I was like, wow, you want to be really realistic, huh? We're really going to watch him chase this bus for the entire route.
And things are going to get more awkward from here, but we'll get into that in the takeaways after the summary. The point is that it's a good resolution, maybe. I don't know. Well, I'll ask your opinion about it later.
I mean, in short, yes, I think this is a good resolution, but it's very upsetting. It's certainly better than Mommy Dearest. I hate her. I hate her so much, Keenan. I'm like, girl, don't think I forgot about you.
Which they do bring up in the episode, too. So there's a lot of resolutions going on.
Keenan, I hate her.
I hate her, too.
I hate her so much.
Point is that Amuro isn't going to be with his father for very long before he has to go back to White Base. And speaking of which, White Base, since they can't make repairs in the colony, they're actually going to leave the colony for a little bit. Off screen, they were approached by a businessman named Bergamino.
They literally was like, what's a shitty rich guy look like? And they drew him, Keenan. He literally looks like Harvey Weinstein. He looks like the Godfather. He looks like every gross businessman you've ever seen who's like, an opportunity for money. Yes.
And they play up that in this episode quite well.
He has a bad day. He has a very bad day on the money scale.
Yeah, so what does he do for a living? He runs a private dock outside of the colony and outside of the territory where you can't fight, and offers a deal with White Base to fix their ship. He also makes deals with Zeon.
Yeah, which he's very open about, which, I mean, if you're gonna be scuzzy, at least be honest about it, which he is.
But no one really addresses that in this episode. There's not enough time for it. The real problem here is that Conscon's assault force surprises White Base once they arrive at the dock, and a whole space battle breaks out, which was absolutely fantastic.
It was an excellent space battle.
The short of it is that, because I want to talk about this more in detail later, especially about what happens with Amuro. The fleet sends out 12 Rickdoms, but they prove to be no match for White Base and the mobile suits. They beat them and destroyed one ship in less than 3 minutes, which causes Conscon to be terrified and sink in his chair, which is hilarious.
However, Keenan, what is he terrified of? It's not the White Base crew. Because I'll tell you what he was terrified of.
He's more terrified of the fact that Char comes back.
He goes, Char will laugh at me! And I fell off the bed laughing. It was the funniest shit. This Because literally when this guy first showed up, I was like, well, here's another one of these idiots, rack him up to knock him down, and which is exactly what happened, except instead of exploding, he has a small mental breakdown, not over the death of his men, not over the fact that he could get exploded in this situation. No, it is because Char will laugh at him.
And we'll get into the specifics of that in a second.
I do love how Xeon is high school.
Yes.
Not that we haven't seen that before, but it just continues to be shown.
So even though White Base is on the verge of victory, there's a problem because their ship is still in dire need of repair. They can't fight for very long. They're going to retreat back to Side 6. And Cameron decided to follow White Base into battle in a little patrol ship with a couple people with him. Char spots this and points out to Conscon, like, hey, there's a Side 6 patrol ship here. Stop fighting or an international incident is going to break out. And very surprising to see that they're respecting rules and regulations.
Yeah, that's not how I thought this was going to go. I literally thought by the end of this episode, Side 6 was going to be debris. The only thing that is debris is this dumb fuck station where he fixes things because he, keeping it in non-neutral territory, for some reason thought that no one would attack him because he helps them both. And I'm like, no, you have not read the rules of war, sir.
Right, and Conscon even had scouts already placed nearby, so they knew White Base was coming.
White Base goes under attack by people shooting through the satellite at them, basically trying to get a surprise attack by shooting through his own satellite. And he's like, what are they doing? I'm like, exactly what anyone with two thoughts in their head. I'm shocked this hadn't happened up to this point already.
Bright actually accused Bergamino of actually setting them up for a trap.
Bright doesn't know how capitalism works. This man cares a lot more about money than about helping one side or the other. So no, he did not set them up for a trap.
And then the episode wraps up where White Base goes back, and then we have a little lover spat between Mirai and Cameron, and things get more awkward, and we're going to talk more about that now in the takeaways of this episode. So, Jeff, is there anything that you would like to lead off with, or do you want me to still be in control of this car here?
I would love to lead off. I would love to, let's start with Mirai and her fiance, whose name I already forgot.
Cameron.
One, I think this is handled very well. I think one part that I love that I actually didn't notice on my first watching, I noticed it on my rewatch today, is how she briefly mentioned, I hope we get more into her allegedly being sent to Side 7 against her will. I thought that was really interesting. I was like, oh, I want to know more about that, which they didn't really get into. But I really loved the dynamic between her and Cameron because it was a very... There's two ways dynamics like this can be handled. There's the one that makes me want to shoot myself in the face, which is the two people do not talk to each other. And then there's the one where two people are talking are actually having like the talk they need to have, but they are speaking like they are both speaking English, but they are basically speaking two different languages, where she is trying to be like, hey, you say you love me, but you do nothing to show it. And he's like, I spent all this money. And she's like, but where were you? You didn't come to look for me. You sent people to come to look for me because you were too scared to come to look for me. And even though she keeps telling him like, hey, because the one thing I thought was really interesting is I thought we were going to go into this and Mirai's whole thing was going to be like, I was set up with him against my will. I don't want to be with this guy. That's not how it is. She clearly does have feelings for him. She even seems willing to leave White Base for him. However, he cannot understand, like in his mind, he sees love the way it's portrayed on TV. Like, if you do grand gestures and things, that shows love. Where she sees love as how it really is, as in, you love me, you care for me, you want to, you are scared for me, you want to, like, why, like, we just found out about him. We certainly haven't seen any of these people he allegedly paid coming looking for her this whole show. And we certainly haven't seen him. He was surprised to even see he didn't even know where she was. And she's like, why do you, and she does, it's this great thing where she's like, okay, well, why do you want me to stay? And he's like, well, because we have our arranged marriage. And she's like, no, that's not, she's trying to get him to be like, say you're in love with me, say you care, say you miss me, say you went looking for me, not you used money to get people to go looking for me. But all he sees out of the marriage is what society thinks should be as part of the marriage. He does not see the actual, like, two people building a life together side of the marriage, which is what she wants out of marriage. And by the end, she ends up being like, well, there's no future here because what we want are two different things. And he does the classic mistake of, well, tell me what you want. Like, I'll change. And she because she's the best character in the show and she's a grown adult. And she's like, you can't just, that's not how this works. Like, you can't just change because you are who you are and who I are. While perfectly fine, she doesn't say all this. This is me reading into it a little bit. But she's like, while we are who we are, and that's perfectly fine, we do not work together. Which it's not, and that's the thing with relationships. It's not there's a good person and a bad person when a relationship ends. There's just two people who, being who they are, just do not mesh or have reached a point where I don't like so much the thing that they change, but just I feel like different parts of people's personalities become more in the forefront as we grow and we change. And they've hit a point where it's just like, it doesn't work. And she sees it doesn't work. And he, I think, as a DA and as clearly someone with power and money, has been like, I can basically spend to make anything. I can make anything work. And she's like, no. This isn't something you can fix with money. This isn't something you can fix with, quote unquote, changing yourself. It's not going to work. And I thought it was for all of the subtlety that Gundam lacks in its character development at times, I thought this was very well done. I'm curious to see what you think.
Yeah, I agree. And it's clear that I think you're right that they do actually have genuine love for each other, but a lot of stuff gets in the way, like the stuff you had already mentioned. You know, he makes a lot of excuses to her. And what I noticed actually is he seems very subservient to his father's wishes. We don't know who his father is, but I'm assuming he must be somebody really powerful because at one point in the episode when White Base comes back and they talk about how, oh, the red tape thing comes back up, Cameron brings up to Mirai, is like, oh, my father can just brush that away as if nothing happened.
Oh, yeah.
That must be a big deal. The thing is that Mirai takes issue with Cameron because of how he seems meek and cowardly. You know, he ran away to Side 6 and used that as an excuse as to why he wasn't directly looking for her. You know, he sent people to find her and, like you said, never really looked for himself. And even when he has one moment of courage where in the patrol ship he tells the crews, like, my future wife is on that ship and I want to make sure that they're okay.
Yes, and that's how you can see he does clearly care about her. They both care about each other. They just cannot express it in the way the other one needs.
Because here's Mirai, who's out on the front lines, and here's Cameron, who is not really willing to risk anything to prove his love to her.
And he has this one moment of risk, but it's even a barely moment of risk because they're in a war zone. He could be hit in the crossfire. However, he's still coming in a ship that if he gets blown up, there's gonna be fucking hell to pay. So there's still not even as much risk as she is bringing to the equation, even when he does risk himself.
Meanwhile, you have somebody like Captain Bright who treats her like an equal and goes to her for a lot of advice and trusts basically her with the entire ship and everyone's lives at the same time. And he shows jealousy when Cameron first arrives. And this is what I wanted to get at later, where
he does the you can't see me doing it, but I'm doing that thing.
He's given a dirty look, and he even like does a little like to get their attention to be.
Oh yeah, he does do that. I mean, the thing that I like about this episode a lot is they do not focus. He really only is even a part of that orbit for that small piece. It really is the focus on Mirai and the fiance, whose name I keep forgetting, Cameron, because he's very uninteresting. But that's the thing that I really love is that it at no point is about like her being torn between two men. It is purely focused on her and this man who she clearly has feelings for, but who also she is mature enough to see like there's fucking problems here that cannot be fixed because we are just because of the people that we are.
And it upsets her.
She genuinely upset because it seems she wants to be with him. She's willing to be with him. But he will never be the man that she needs him to be for it to be a healthy relationship. And you mentioned how powerful his father is. I think what really shows like why this relationship would never work is clearly she has a powerful father too.
Yes.
Because it's clearly the two fathers made this. She has never mentioned, does not seem to care about her father or what he wants. That's all this guy talks about.
Yeah.
And he talks about it because in a very matter-of-fact way of, you can tell why he ran the side six. Even though I would, listen, if I was him, I would also run the side six. I'm a pacifist. You ain't fucking getting me to show up for no war, no how. I fight with my words, not with guns.
Yeah, if I could interrupt you for a sec. I brought this up, I think...
You can try.
I brought this up in a couple of episodes ago, where it was just something that I noticed, where it's like, if he ran to side six, why didn't he take her with him? You know, where was that discussion?
Excellent point. Well, because you know what I think it is? I think he ran so fast, he didn't have... Because the thing is, they both come from powerful families. Well, I mean, one thing, we're still missing the piece of who forced her to go to side 7? What was that about? We don't have that piece of the puzzle. The other thing is, he definitely seems like a man who, I don't want to say intentionally puts himself about everyone else. I think that's just how he was raised, and that's just how he's like, I need to go. And did not even think about her until he was already gone. And then also probably figured, like, I could go first, and then I could come back for her. Because, you know, that's just how he is. That's how his brain works. And
yeah, fight or flight took over.
Fight or flight. And she was not even an afterthought until he got there. And then he was like, oh shit, I gotta find her. But I can't leave to go find her. He could, but he believes he can't because his self-preservation overpowers his love for Mirai.
So yeah, I love the subtlety that's going on between Mirai and Cameron and to Bright to some extent. However, there's one thing that I want to talk about that wasn't so subtle that I hated a lot.
Oh, I bet I know what it is. You want to get started and then I will jump in?
It involves our favorite dashing hero, Slegger.
Who can now add massive fucking liar to his list of credits.
Huge hypocrite, champion of women.
Yeah, just a real feminist, that Slager.
And a terrible left hook.
Yeah, okay, so I'm glad you brought that up, because here's the thing. They were trying to do something that I'm sure in the 70s seemed really cool. If you do not have the capabilities at the time to animate it so it moves smoothly, maybe we don't animate it, is what I would like to say for this. Because they do that thing that... They do basically like a Looney Tunes bit where all of a sudden his hand comes off from off screen, takes off Cameron's glasses, and then punches him in the face with the other hand. It is so awkwardly animated that I'm like, what is happening? And then...
Can I stop you for a sec? So when you fell off the bed laughing at Conscon for being just a delightfully bad villain, I was dying at this part because it's... It's like that scene from Wreck-It Ralph with King Candy. You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you? Oh,
I haven't seen Wreck-It Ralph, Keenan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Great movie. You should actually watch it.
Well, it's on the you know what I started doing the pandemic. Every weekend I watch a Disney movie from the Walt Disney Animated Studios, and I am currently this week. I just did Meet the Robinsons. Excellent movie. Was not expecting to love it as much as I did. So I'm pretty close to Wreck-It Ralph. Next week's Bolt, and then I think it's only like 4 or 5 more weeks before I hit. Or probably a few more, maybe like 6 weeks before I hit Wreck-It Ralph.
Cool.
So I am excited to watch it, and I'm a little since one of our favorite podcasts, Kingdom Smarts, is covering the Wreck-It Ralph stage of Union Cross. I was like, maybe I can't listen to this, or I'm gonna get spoiled on Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, maybe.
But I heard it's very good.
But who knows? Disney, the Disney stories tend to be very abridged in Kingdom Hearts, so
true.
Who knows?
Except for Pirates of the Caribbean. That one, every moment of that movie is covered.
Oh my god, yeah. But you're absolutely right. This is hysterical. 1, because it's badly animated. 2, Slegger was nice enough to take off the glasses before punching him, and then give him back, while calling him a pencil neck. I was almost expecting Freddie Blassie to suddenly show up saying, "Shut up, you pencil neck geek!"
Yeah, I don't like him, Keenan. And this did not help me like him, because he's like, I can't stand to see someone like harassing a woman. And I'm like, I don't know why I made him Southern, but I'm like, no, but you harass women constantly. You gross piece of garbage. Get out of here.
Oh yeah, as soon as I heard him say, I hate seeing a guy harassing a lady, I was like, this coming from the guy who both verbally and physically molested Mirai just a few episodes ago.
Did you hear all the steam pour out of my ears when I was watching it? Because I was like, I hate this man. I hate this man and his lies.
You're like a boiling tea kettle.
He sucks so much, and what sucks the most about him is he's actually pretty cool in fight scenes, but he is just, every time he opens his mouth, he is just hateful trash, and I hate him. I don't know why. I'm like, we're so close to the end. Why did we need this man?
Luckily, the argument eventually gets diffused because, and I'm not sure if Cameron was trying to like take a dig where he's like, I guess I don't know how to court a lady. Is that right? And Slicker's like, yes, that's correct.
No, I think he was genuinely, I think he was like, yeah, I was in the wrong. Because here's the thing. He does put hands on Mirai and get a little uncomfortably in her face when he's trying to convince her to leave White Base and stay with him. It's very like, I don't understand why you're not doing what I'm saying because I think my logic is the only logic that exists and you are blowing my mind by not just falling back into, because clearly he does whatever his father tells him and he feels like, well, this is just how, and I assume his mother is in a situation where she does whatever his father tells him, so this is a very really throwing him for a loop that Mirai is not just like, oh yes, I will come back to you, and is really, so he gets a little, not violent, but he does get a little aggressive in how he grabs her, so I'm glad someone like pushed him off, but the way it happens is just ludicrous.
Cameron does show a lot of desperation, so I could see why somebody would try to break this up. Yeah, I just wish it wasn't Slegger.
Yeah, like if I was there, I would have been like, you need to back the fuck up. It wouldn't have been this weird off camera, someone reaches over, takes off his glasses, saying nothing, and then punches him in the face, which at first I was like, is that Bright?
Well, no, he actually does say, excuse me.
Yeah, I was like, is that Bright? And then I was like, oh no, it's this asshole.
Boy, we would have been so much nicer if it was Bright.
We would have, because also, one, Bright would have just punched me when I cared about the glass. Because the only reason I thought it might be Bright is because Bright is very punchy, as we've seen in several episodes.
It also makes narrative sense because Mirai and Bright do have somewhat of a relationship.
Yeah, but it does make more sense for Slager to do it because Bright is too professional. If this guy had really like tried to like put hands on Mirai, Bright would have like ended him where he stood, but also Bright wasn't there, so he wouldn't see it. But if he did see it, he would have like tried to get him to maybe back off, but he wouldn't go straight for the punch the way Slager did.
Yeah, Bright usually reserves his punches and slaps for Amuro.
And pretty much anyone who's younger than him on pretty much anyone who's in his charge, which is not the best leadership choice, but whatever.
Speaking of military leaders, you want to talk about Conscon for a little bit?
I mean, I said most of what I had to say about him, but yeah, I love how he showed up. He's like, I hate Char. Char sucks. I'm going to prove how Char is useless. And he basically talks like this to Char's face, and Char's like, hey. And Char very subtly is like, now you wouldn't be bullying a younger charge, would you? And Ponscom's like, get out. He's like, he's trash. I'm going to show that he's useless. I'm going to show everyone he's terrible at his job. And then I was like, well, we've heard this story every single episode from whoever like that week's villain monster of the week is. And then by the time all of his fleet is wiped out by White Base and Sayla and the Shitty Man and Amuro, Ponscom is literally on the floor going, Char will laugh at me. And it was great.
Yeah, that's what's really great about this is that even though he is about as effective as most of the one-off commanders, which is to say not effective at all, there's a really good setup and follow-through with him, with his meeting with Char, him cutting him down, and then Char coming back later, and Conscon just being like you said, it's like, oh god, he's going to laugh at me for my failure.
I would just like to point out my overly dramatic saying of him say he's going to laugh at me does sound more realistic to the way he says it than your calm one. Usually that is not the case. Usually Keen is much closer to the tone. This time, I win.
Yes, Conscon was very upset about Char coming back.
Oh, and I do believe he said something along the lines of like something very subtly like, I can't believe Char still hasn't destroyed this thing. And I was like, you're making a mistake.
Yeah, Conscon even had like a debate with one of his lessers when Char left about like what's the deal with the mask, and some people say that he actually has a perfectly good face, he's good looking, but he wears a mask for some reason. So Conscon wants to basically expose the wolf in sheep's clothing, which I believe is the words he used.
But Garma saw him without his mask on, so it's not like that wild of a thing. So that whole thing, I was like, do people not? Because one guy's like, maybe he has very serious burns. I'm like, no, we've seen him take his mask off multiple times. He had his mask came off in like episode 2, because of struggling with Sayla, or struggling to attack Side 7, and he's not wearing it when he showers at Garma's place. So,
Yeah, but Garma and Char were buddies. At least we thought they were buddies before Char killed him.
Yeah.
Well, Char had him killed.
Until Char arranged for Garma to be in the way of a kill shot.
We could assume that most of Xeon doesn't really know what Char looks like.
First time that's really referenced, though. So I thought that was interesting.
That is true. That Xeon Interior is actually talking about it. Normally it's just Sayla and her constant back and forth of like, oh, I don't know if my brother's here, and now I'm suddenly going to be an ineffective character.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, I don't think we've ever seen Char like on deck or in a cockpit ever without his mask on. So it's not as surprising to us to imagine him without his mask on, but now I think about it, we've never really seen him around other people without his mask on, with the exception of Garma and Sayla by accident.
Right. There is one loose plot thread that Char has as a one-off after he leaves Conscon's ship, where he sends an encrypted message to his boss, Cassilia. We'll see if that gets addressed later.
Ooh, I did like that. I was like, I hope it's addressed later, because they didn't tell us what it was, so I hope we find out eventually. I know by the next episode I'll forgot he sent it, so make sure to write down and remind me if it does come up again. Like, hey, we saw this.
Another takeaway I had about this is Bergamino, as we mentioned, is hysterical because of how comically greedy he is.
I do like him.
Because the whole time he's just like, my dog, my precious dog.
He's just Trump in space.
God. Yeah, he is.
But he's like the way we used to think Trump was before he became his fascist dictator. Like, he's just like
like apprentice Trump.
Yeah, he's just like a rich prick. But like, you could see where this could go very south for everyone. Especially with his precious dog.
So that was fun. I want to talk about a couple of things that happened really early in this episode. One being, well, it's kind of played in the beginning and then somewhat in the middle when they talk about the colony itself. A lot of narration happens in this episode.
Yeah.
Like, they talk about the space fortress, and they talk about how it occupies Side 1 space, where they attack the colonies, and...
We got a lot of new stuff in this episode, so that kind of explains that, because we've never been to Side 6. We've never seen Dozel's base before.
They talk about, like, the beacons that show the line where the neutral zone is. They talk about how a bit of the colony works. But my question is, considering that we are 33 episodes in, 32 if you don't count the band episode, why are we doing this now? It's a little late, don't you think?
No, I think just personally, I think it makes perfect sense because we've never been here before. We've never had need to know this information before. All of this is brand new. Like, Dozel's place, never once been mentioned, never seen it before. Side 6 just got Side 6 has been mentioned a couple times, but not specifically enough that you would need to explain, like, the outside area. Now, do I think this could have been, the exposition could have been done through the characters as opposed to the narrator? Yes. But other than that, for me, it didn't seem weird to me because it was all new. Like, none of this was stuff that could have been explained earlier or would have made sense to explain earlier. Except when we did that old map thing.
Which I looked up again just for this episode.
But I could see why all of that narration was put in there because it was all new stuff. That's why I like this episode. It was all new stuff. It wasn't, we weren't still just doing the same thing over and over again.
I just have really a big issue with just the exposition on the colony because I agree. I think if the characters talked about it, I would have felt better about it. But none of it, I think, was really relevant to the plot itself.
Yeah, and you could work it in really easily through, like, Amuro, who's never been outside of Side 7 and wherever they've been. So this is a chance for Bright to explain how Side 6 works as they're coming in to Amuro. but instead we just have the narrator doing it.
Yeah, because that's one thing that we've noticed throughout the entire show is while, yes, there's a lot of dialogue, not all of it is really strictly character driving dialogue. A lot of it is very straightforward and usually just sticking to either whatever the drama is of the situation at hand or military related stuff.
It is also a narrator heavy show, though. The narrator does pop up more than most shows. So it's not something that I really thought about in the moment. But now that you point it out, I do think it's something that could have been handled better through character dialogue, especially because, like you said, character dialogue is usually used to expose things as opposed to advancing the characters. But it did not surprise me or in any way throw me that the narrator was like, and now I'm going to give you a lesson on how all of these things work, children.
Because it's like, what do we know about people like Oscar or, everyone's favorite Omer? Do we know what he likes? What is his personality?
I didn't even know we had an Oscar.
Exactly.
Who is Oscar? Who the fuck is Oscar?
Exactly. He's an afterthought because we have no fucking idea.
Yeah, we haven't seen Omer since Earth. We don't know what's up with. I don't even know the names of those two schmucks who sit in the chairs. I will say, we did get one piece of character information that went nowhere, which was Sayla being like, "Hey, Amuro, it seems like you're not being very nice to Frau. What's that about?" And I was like, and it's never mentioned again.
I'm glad you spotted that because I was gonna bring it up.
I don't remember it happening in previous episodes, and it doesn't come up in this episode. There's no Frau to be seen, but I did say, I'm like, oh, what is he doing to my girl? Are we fighting? Are we fighting, Amuro? Are you being mean to my girl? It's very, I assume it's setting up something going forward, but it's not, it's very just like kind of dropped and left. And I don't remember any setup to this.
Yeah, this conversation is in response to something that must have happened, but my problem is that it's way too late for her to be bringing up this kind of stuff. Because the last time that Amuro and Frau were having issues was back on Earth when Matilda was still alive. Because Amuro had a crush on her. And Frau is like, I don't like you liking older women. I like you.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tell you that I like you.
I can't remember the last time Amuro and Frau were in a room together.
They all travel together to go to the grocery store.
Did she even say anything? I did not even notice her there.
She has like 2 lines, I think.
Honestly, did not even notice she was there. And they did not in any way address what Sayla said, which is why I did not notice she was there. There was no follow-up to...
Nope.
Sayla's inquiry because something else happens at the grocery store, Keenan.
Yes. But it's weird because, like, I didn't hate this exchange between Sayla and Amuro. I thought it was good dialogue. I just felt it was really out of place. And like you said, it really has no relevance to anything that happens in this episode at all.
No, not at all. And I was like... It would have been an interesting piece of dialogue if the last episode has shown us anything to lead up to it, but like this is our 3rd episode since we came back, and there has been nothing to hint that this is a thing.
Mm-mm. So again, if they had addressed it immediately, or maybe like one episode after we saw like a little struggle between the two of them, then it would make sense, but not here.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, now I think the moment we've all really been waiting to talk about. Is we're going to talk about Hot Dad.
All right, I got my horny part out. Now let's deal with the sad. As most of my encounters with gentlemen go. We finished the horny part. Let's get to the sad part.
Because this all takes place in a relatively short time, but I think it has a lot of emotional and narrative impact, which is why I have a lot of thoughts about it.
It's very sad. And actually, thank God I did my rewatch, because I did not even a bit remember, and I'm not even sure if I remember us mentioning it in our very first episode of Hot Dad getting sucked into space. So if I had not done that rewatch, and if you all listened to the special episode of me revisiting the old episodes, I think that's the first time I've ever mentioned it. I think I even say they're like, I do not remember him getting sucked into space.
Right.
I thought he just like pieced out. So this would have been much more confusing to me if I hadn't done that rewatch, because it's very sad.
And I actually have a problem with that, but we'll get to it in a second. What happens in detail, Jeff already brought up that Amuro is chasing his father from bus stop to bus stop, sprinting after it.
It's very silly, which it's not supposed to be silly. It's supposed to be very serious. But if you're gonna have him chase a bus, make sure when the bus stops that his father gets off at that stop. Don't have it keep stopping and letting strangers off and have him just keep running after the bus. It is very silly.
He never yells at the bus driver to stop or anything like that.
Well, I mean, the bus driver, I would assume, couldn't hear him, but just from a narrative point of view, like, is it more realistic he would have to chase it for a few stops? Yes. It's not realistic that he could keep up with it for a few stops, but it's realistic he might chase it for a few stops. But like, realism is not what we're aiming for here. Just have him get off at the next stop so we can get this moving. That was we were stretching for time.
That and to show, like, different angles and stuff like that. So they were really stretching it to kind of play up the drama of it. You know,
did we need to see like Hot Dad just reading his book on the bus? Like, did we need all the angles? Because I feel like it was just like a little. I feel like we were just like. I feel like Tomino was like, stretch it out, stretch it out, stretch it out. We gotta hit that 25 minutes.
I mean, I find it a bit effective because, especially with the music is very uplifting because it's supposed to be like a big family reunion thing. And by the time that his dad gets off the bus, what does he say when Amuro greets him?
Okay, before we get there, I actually had the opposite reaction to the music because the fact that it was taking so long for him to get to his dad made me instantly not trust it. I was like, this is if this was going to be a happy reunion, his dad would have seen him at the store. This extending that we're doing, it made me very uneasy. He literally turns to him and goes, "Hey, Amuro, how's the Gundam?"
Yeah.
Like nothing has happened. Like, he saw him yesterday, and I was like, oh God.
And we don't necessarily have an accurate time frame of where the story is right now. We do know that at least when the show begins, it's been 9 months since the war began, considering it's a 1-year war. It starts in September.
So it can't be that long because this whole show takes place in 3 months.
Point is we have no idea how much time passed when Amuro left Side 7 to this point.
Yeah, and what gets me about this is... I forgot what gets me about this. Never mind.
Maybe you'll remember when I start getting to what happens next.
Here's a funny thing, y'all. Here's the funny thing about me. The reason I cut off Keenan so much is not only because I like to hear myself talk, it is also because I forget things almost as fast as I think of them. And so I feel like if I do not get it out then, I will lose it.
And you know what? Because now we're recording separate tracks, it makes it easier for me to sort all that out. So we're not just talking over each other.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's been a bit of a blessing.
You're welcome. Yes, doing distant recording was a wonderful idea and was actually mine. You're welcome. I do a big contribution to the show, contrary to your discussions earlier in the episode.
I have so many audio clips of you telling me, oh, Kita does everything.
Oh, I'm not saying you don't do everything. I'm just saying I do something.
There was never a question about that, my friend.
I know. Keenan, I'm so lucky to have you.
Oh, you're amazing. Anyway, after this very upsetting reunion with Amuro and his father, Temre, where he's just like, hey, Amuro, so how's the Gundam doing? Amuro follows his dad back to his house, which is at a junkyard. We even see like a remaining Zaku head in the junk pile, which I found interesting.
Yeah, and here's the thing. When his father had that very blasé reaction, I was like, fuck, Hot Dad's going to be as bad as Mom, isn't he?
Kind of.
Turns out I don't think so, because she can control her actions. What we are soon to learn about him is he cannot.
Yeah.
He has a genuine problem. Hers was rage-inducing. His made me very sad because when he was like, "Hey, how's the Gundam?" I was like, "Really, motherfucker? That's what you're gonna say to your son after like all that has happened?" And then we find out the truth. Well, or we find out what Amuro seems to what we know is the truth so far because Amuro seems to put something together on his own. But it's definitely a different situation than the mom.
Yeah, because Amuro's really only speculating. He is not qualified to determine what exactly is wrong with his dad. It's just a guess.
Yeah, but I mean, clearly something is off. Literally from the moment they walk in, and Amuro's like, "What is all this junk?" You're kind of like, I was uneasy, but still didn't think much of it. And so they go in, and his father's like, "Here, put this in the Gundam. I made it from Xeon technology." And here's the thing, Keenan, fuck if I know what actual like useful technology looks like is. So I was like, that probably is something important to the Gundam. And Amuro literally looks in and goes, "This is," in his head, he doesn't say it to his dad, thankfully, he just goes, "This is just a piece of junk. What is he doing?" and then you continue to say what Amuro figures out, or at least speculates.
Yeah, because Amuro this whole time is trying to like talk more with his dad, trying to ask him questions, and all his dad's doing is just brushing it off, saying, "I'm doing research," blah 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 blah. And naturally, Amuro is getting more worried over the course of this conversation, and Amuro puts together that his dad possibly has brain damage from a lack of oxygen, which makes sense for Jeff because he rewatched the first episode, because his dad got launched out into space. Who knows what happened to him in the intervening time?
P.S. Yet again, we have fucking district attorneys in space, but somehow this man got sucked into space and wasn't killed instantly by the vacuum in space. Instead, maybe lost some oxygen, maybe got some brain damage.
Well, he had a spacesuit on, I believe. I'd have to go back and watch the first episode.
Oh, okay. I can't remember. Okay, retract that if he had a spacesuit on, but if he didn't, I stand by it. Yeah, the whole thing is, but it was just so sad. I just found this very sad, and not in the way that I found the mother situation sad, because the mother basically was like, hey, you're a terrible person. I am saying having no knowledge of what your life has been and what trauma you've been through. The father is basically just treating him as like the pilot of his important machine, which normally I would hate, but clearly they make it very clear like something is off with the father, as opposed to the mother, who they kind of try to paint as caring and it blows up in their faces very spectacularly. I do think the show does an accurate portrayal that makes you be like, something is wrong with this man.
Yeah, my issue is that there's not enough information for me that satisfies me in a way that helps me relate to this scene or get emotional about it. Like, I feel bad for Amuro, but just him thinking that his dad may have oxygen deprivation at one point was not enough to satisfy my curiosity because of how long it's been since we've seen his dad. 33 episodes.
Agreed. And I feel like they had the time with all that running after the bus, and Amuro, as a family member of the father, could have, like, now he knows where he is. He could have gone to local, like, medical and found, like, his father's records and seen what was up. Because you have to figure, if the father was rescued with space, someone had to check him out.
Right. Because all we're left to do as the audience is basically be like, Amuro, we're just guessing based on this little nugget of information that's provided.
And it did kind of feel like they were just saying it as... It didn't feel like... We see it as speculation because the whole thing we do with the show is kind of break it down and examine it. Whereas if you were just watching it, I think that is the explanation. I think that's what we're supposed to think the explanation is. I don't think there's going to be another explanation. I think they just kind of had him say it as fact, and that's how we're going to move on. I could be wrong, but it does not feel like, unlike other things that happen in this episode, this does not feel like a storyline we're coming back to. I definitely agree with you. I think it could have been done a lot better by having him get confirmation from an actual doctor, but also it's just real fucking sad. Because, like, this isn't his father anymore. Because even the big thing about his father, which I assume we're going to see more in the origin about the dynamic between him and his father. I assume we'll get a better idea of what their dynamic was like. But from what little we have of the father does kind of feel like a guy who would put his work before his family. Hence, they left the mother on Earth. But not to this degree of... And you see, like, you see the, like, thing that's off, where it's like he's literally handing Amuro just a messy piece of thing and wires and being like, oh, I use Xeon technology to create this. And it's just like, oh, he just, like, something just broken inside of him. And it's just very sad. And we haven't had enough time with Hot Dad to know his personality well enough to notice it more subtly, which is why I agree with you that I think it'd be better if a doctor told Amuro, like, what's up. But I'm glad they at least didn't just do the thing with the mom where it's just like, oh, he's a shitty parent too. Not that there's a lot of great things to show he's a great parent, but at least they did it in this way that was like, some things, when he runs into the father again, instead of him just being a jerk, he's being a jerk because something's wrong with him.
Like you said, I think a couple episodes ago, there's only so many episodes left. They're going to rush through a lot of stuff because they have to.
Yeah, so I feel like I think we're done with the dad. I will say, of all the things that I thought were going to wrap up him running into his dad again, this was not what I thought it was going to be. I thought his dad was going to be in like the higher ups of the Federation and like building more stuff or doing something, and maybe there's going to be conflict born out of that. I did not expect him to just be living on the neutral colony, like just kind of broken.
How in the world did he get here? Because, and it's hard to explain without a
Great question.
without a visual aid, but go with me on this. Side 7, at least according to Universal Century maps that I have in the novelization of Mobile Suit Gundam, and there's other sources that have it, Side 6 and 7 are nearly on opposite sides of the Earth's orbit. That's a long way.
I mean, I would assume someone picked him up after the fight on Side 7. You would figure when Side 7 just got like a giant-ass hole blown in it, someone would go to check for survivors and then would take him to Side 6. I doubt he floated from Side 7 to Side 6.
No, I don't think so either. But I mean, what are we left to assume? They don't tell us.
My issue isn't even with this episode. My thing with this episode is this episode could have been 2 episodes, where the last 2 episodes could have been 1 episode. And we could have gotten these answers. In a show that was more compact with things going on, I could see why they didn't. I could see why they might not explain that, because I mean, we were able to put it together pretty quickly. However, they've had the time where they could explain that, and instead, we were fighting like a suit with teeth.
On the production end, better direction definitely could have helped this, and maybe a little bit of better writing and storyboarding, but
The Tomino stands are going to find you, Keenan.
if he directed this episode, because
He's a series director, right?
yeah, he's series director, but not every episode was directed by him. I wish I had a breakdown of each person that directed each episode, but that's hard to find.
Yeah, but he gets the final, like, he's the boss there, Keenan. Don't you backpedal now.
Oh no, I'm not backpedaling on that.
I know. I'm just being a challenge. You're welcome.
Delightful. But yeah, aside from those gripes, I do still think, and I agree with you, that this scene is still very effective. One, because what little resolution we have, I think, is great character growth for Amuro, and it leads to a payoff at the end of this episode. At least in my opinion. I might be reading a bit into it on that, but we'll get to that in a second. Because I love how Amuro, towards the end of the conversation, while he's trying to still process what is wrong with his father, he's like, hey, I saw Mom on Earth. And he doesn't care. And even yells at him at the end probably because his dad saw him in his Federation uniform. He's like, well, you're a soldier. Don't you need to be punctual? Get out of here. And so Amuro goes running out of the house with the little piece of junk and throws it in the middle of the street. And we see him. He is very visibly angry.
It was a very good scene, because he was very, I mean, I don't even, yes, he was angry, but that anger was coming from a place of hurt, because he was like, my mother thinks I'm a monster, and my father doesn't even have the brain capacity anymore to be my father, so what am I left with? It was very, I think, the emotion I understood. I don't think they really explained it the way I just did very well. I don't think they showed what I just said very well, but I think that's what they were trying to show, and I thought that was very good. But yes, for Amuro, like, clearly, if his father was in his right mind, he would have some reaction to the fact that Amuro saw his wife.
For those who have not been following along since the beginning of this show, Amuro is a teenager. He's had to mature very fast as a result of being thrust into this conflict, but I really feel like when he saw his father again, he got back to a place where he could be like himself instead of being Amuro the Gundam pilot. Unfortunately, that's all come crumbling down.
What it felt like to me is, like, by the end of this, it's almost like Amuro was an orphan, because we've now seen him with both of his parents, and both of his parents are not the parent he needs. So he's kind of just, now he's forced to be an adult at the age of, like, what, 14?
He's 15 and eventually becomes 16 at one point. There's information about when his date of birth is, but I don't have that.
Well, could you have handled a fucking war at 16, Keenan? Because I couldn't.
Nope.
I couldn't handle geometry, so I could not have handled this situation.
But you mentioned now how Amuro potentially feels like an orphan. And what is he left with? Well, he gets back to White Base and is admonished by Captain Bright for being late. And in addition, when he gets back out on patrol just before the space battle happens, Slagger has to come on comms and ask him how he's doing in a very blasé fashion.
He's like, how you doing, kid? And he's like, I'm not your fucking kid.
Yeah, he tops it off with when Amuro says, like, yeah, I'm fine, because that's always the best solution. to your problems is dismiss it by saying you're fine.
Okay, yeah, but look who he's talking to, Keenan. Would you want to open up to this terrible man? Because I wouldn't.
Absolutely not. But to compound the issue, Slegger says, glad to hear it. That's a good boy. And that's when Amuro is like, can you can it with the good boy stuff? And that's where I feel like this frustration is building more and more and more until the battle happens. And Amuro goes on a killing spree.
Oh, it's great. I still remember the early episodes of this show where I kept getting frustrated how bad Amuro was in the Gundam.
You can't be mad at him now.
Well, not only that, like, I have no excuse for my prior commentary where I was, because clearly they had to build him into who he was. He was 15. He didn't know what the fuck he was doing in a giant warship.
Can I stop you for a sec?
Yes.
I do think that's a legitimate concern. However, with the amount of times they show him getting his ass whooped, I would also be frustrated.
Yeah, well, because it lasts through pretty much the entire Garma arc, which is 10 episodes, which is the core of the show, and that's a long time for him to be bad at his job. And it did happen occasionally during Ramba Raw, but once we hit, like, the Makube arc, like, he has been very good at his job ever since. Yeah, because he had moments in the Ramba Raw, he had enough problems during the Ramba Raw arc, I didn't notice, but, like, once that got wrapped up, he's been pretty much smooth sailing, so... Yes, I think you're right. I take back half of what I said. I do think I was impatient for him to turn around, but they did take almost a quarter of the series for him to become good at it, which, while maybe realistic, is also bad television. Sometimes, if there's one thing I have learned, it's that reality is not always the best television.
And they didn't go out of their way to use that creatively.
No, they literally just used it to use recycled shots of him screaming in the cockpit.
Exactly. There wasn't like, oh, suddenly he doesn't know how to deal with a computer.
No, it was a lot of recycled animation.
But in this battle, so I mentioned earlier that the Conscom Mobile Assault Force sends out 12 Rickdoms. Amuro took out 9 of them.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, and he counts them as he does, which is cool as shit. He's like, there's 1. There's 2. And I was like, and he doesn't do it in like a cool guy way. He does it in just a very meticulous, like trying to remember how many people are there. So that way he doesn't like get caught off guard. But it's very cool. And Sayla's out there, and she's fucking shit up, and Slager's out there, and I wish he wasn't cool in battle, but he is. He's just awful everywhere else that he shows up. It was just it was definitely one of the better fights. I would say this is one of the best fights since, I think one of my favorite fights was that I can remember liking this much. For the entire length of the fight, because almost every fight has like a really cool Amuro moment in it. But the last time I remember liking a fight this much, it's the one where I think it's when they first arrive on Earth, and Garba sends the whole military, and you're jumping between everyone, and everyone kind of has a piece of the fight, and then Amuro like loses his shit and just like goes wild. Like, that's the last time I remember enjoying a fight this much from beginning to end, because it was just fucking cool, and they were just wrecking shit. And there's this man just crying about his money over here in the corner. There's this other man crying over here about Char making fun of him, and then there's Slager, Sayla, and Amuro just laying down the law. It was great. Loved it. I'm so hyped, Keenan.
That's a very interesting comparison, actually, between how Amuro was then to this episode in particular, because you're right, in that episode, he goes crazy on all the tanks and swinging, his beam saber wildly, but here, he is cold, he is calculating, he is just a merciless animal.
I don't know if that's how I would phrase it. I would phrase it as he goes on autopilot, because he's so used to it now that he's just like, okay, got 1. That's 2. He's not like, because, and this is just a personal thing, where when I think of cold, I think of kind of like, actually, you know what? I think Cole, you know what? I can go with Cold because he's just very kind of mechanical about it. I don't think I would go with Merciless because he's not like getting any glee. He's not like, he didn't show up to kill people. And I feel like if some people weren't attacking, he would just let them go because he doesn't really fucking care.
You're right. He took no enjoyment in any of this, but...
Sorry, I don't mean to police your wording.
You're an English major. I get it.
I was just like, in the moment, I was just like, oh... I don't know, but no, Cold is a good... Because when you usually think of Cold, you usually think of someone, like, purposely being, like, a jerk or, like, icing someone, or... But really, it's just... He's very mechanical, but mechanical in a way that this is just his job. Like, you know how when you go into work And you just are like, well, it's Monday. I know what I do on Monday. Like, you know, when you used to go to work, you would get everything set up and get to my team to get like the thing done that you needed. It's but you did every Monday, and this is just another Monday to Amuro. Like, this is his job. He has to go fight them, and then just to make sure that he doesn't get like put his life in danger, his friend's life in danger, he's keeping a count in his head. It's very cool.
What I find, and this is where I'm reading in a bit, is I think there's subtext here that it's Amuro. He's already come to accept a lot of this, but now it's like the final stretch to essentially ruin his childhood forever, because his mom doesn't love him, dad has brain damage, his compatriots are sometimes terrible, he is on occasion, at odds with Bright, and he's the Gundam pilot. He has to be at the front lines at all times and is usually the last line of defense.
I will say with his mother, I can't believe I'm saying this, I think she loves him. I just think she does not show him love because he does not she's actually kind of similar to Cameron in that he does not fall into the pattern of behavior that she believes is acceptable, and therefore he is making her question her worldview, and as opposed to actually taking the time and critically thinking about what's going on in the world, she just blames him and calls him a terrible person.
Right.
So I think she loves him. I just think she does not show him love because she, in a similar way to Cameron, is more concerned with maintaining her view of the world than she is with, and what is right and wrong in the world than she is with the needs of her son.
I am shocked that you are turning into Amuro's mom's apologist.
So, fuck it. Fuck you. Fuck you, Keenan. You know I hate her. I'm giving respect to Tomino, who gave us this beautiful show that gave us the opportunity to do this. How dare you? How dare you accuse me of liking that vile human being?
It would be great if the show actually showed any of that, because it doesn't.
I do one day want to get my doctorate in media studies. I'm just trying I'm just trying to further my education, Keenan. You have never said something so horrible to me in my life. I mean, there's some things you haven't said to me that are pretty horrible. Kind of like, hey, Jeff, there's a Kingdom Hearts concert coming to the theater that I work for. You want me to see if you can, even if I can't get you tickets, you could get yourself tickets. Oh, no, never mind. I'm not going to tell you about it. And then a global pandemic will happen, and then you'll never get to hear Dearly Beloved.
Yeah, you sure can't find any of that anywhere.
Oh, really? Oh, really? Someone who went to the Final Fantasy concert the next day? You could have just stayed home and listened to the CD, Keenan. Why did you go, Keenan?
You couldn't Google the ticket information ahead of time?
I'm gonna burn this podcast to the fucking ground. We are almost at the end of the episode. Wrap us up, Keenan.
I just wanted to mention that what happens as Amuro is on his kill count, his voice is continuing to echo more and more as he does it, and I found that to be very complimentary with the chaotic music and just to show that Amuro right now internally is a disaster.
It's really interesting that you bring this all up because I didn't even put that much thought into it. I just was like, hey, this is cool as shit. He's very good at his job now where he used to be bad at it. But yeah, it's a very interesting way of looking at how it's almost like he's making the shift into adulthood even though he's only 15/16 because like he doesn't have parents anymore who really can parent him the way he would need. Because like in most shows you'd be like, oh well, he has like Bright and Mirai who are almost like surrogate parents, but they aren't because like they have fucked it up as well in past things. So he does have the family of White Base, but no one really takes on that guidance role. He really is alone in that sense. Because even with like Sayla, who kind of filled that role a little bit in the beginning, he has to guide more than she has to guide him. So he really is kind of like the maturest, not the maturest person is Orbit, because that still is Bright and Mirai, but like he has no one to kind of be his guidance anymore. He's really out on his own in that way. And yes, he has a support system, but he doesn't have a like parental figure in any way anymore, which is rough going at 16.
Frau at times has shown some motherly qualities with him, both aggressive and loving, but it's been heavily diminished over time.
Well, and isn't she younger than him?
I believe they're the same age.
Well, maybe. But even so, but she's really had to be more of a mother to the kids.
Exactly. So she spends more time with them than she does with her childhood best friend. Last couple of things I want to do in the takeaways is kind of what you already mentioned, how Slugger, ironically, is good at his job. Sayla gets a little bit of action. Hayato, surprisingly, is one of the few who actually doesn't do very well. In a quick shot, he gets his wings clipped in the core fighter.
Did not even know he was... I thought that was Slager in the core fighter. Did not even know Hayato was out there.
Yeah, that was a blink and you miss it kind of thing. And then this is the stupidest one, where Kai in the gun cannon takes out a Rickdom, but the show goes out of its way to show a disembodied floating robot hand cover the head. And I'm just like, well, this led to nowhere. What is this supposed to be?
I've watched this episode twice and I did not notice they were there.
If you go back a third time, I dare you to go find that.
I'm good. Boy, am I ready for the next one.
Yeah, speaking of the next one, and I'm glad you were watching the episode preview this time because you know what to look for, Jeff.
Well, you know I was trying to help the podcast by not watching the episode preview. I thought I was like, I'm so smart. Look at me go. And then last episode we were like, you didn't watch the episode preview because you wanted me to see hot dads coming.
I want your reactions.
Well, let me tell you, you're about to get a fucking reaction because I have multiple reactions. First of all, Blanket from Brave Little Toaster finally makes her appearance.
The Swan Lady's here.
She's here, but you know what I do not like to see above her? Atmosphere. I'm like, wait, are they on Earth again? And then the fucking narrator goes like, and then White Base goes to space. I'm like, they're already in fucking space. Where are we going? What do you mean we're going to space? Where are we in space? Are we going to Earth to like meet this lady and then leave? And I know there's an episode with Texas in the title. I'm like, what is happening?
Again, it'll make sense when we get there.
Okay, will it though, Keenan? Because you've said that sometimes and it's been a blatant lie. Sometimes what they do makes no sense.
Because it's fun to mess with you that way.
Y'all, he runs a Twitter now. You can send him all the hate mail for how he treats me.
Yeah, luckily no one blabbed about anything about the bonus book club episode, so I must be free in the clear about that one.
Wow, what happened with the bonus? Well, you can't tell me, I assume.
Well, not yet.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, so I should stop checking the comments on the on the Twitter. Because I want to see everyone be excited that we're back, but also I told people to stop using the hashtag and they can just tell you whatever they want, so I should be very behaved.
Right. At this point, if you spoil yourself, it is your fault.
Well, I mean, yes. Also, there's nothing you could do, Keenan, to spoil me as big as when you fucking spoiled the colony drop by getting me to listen to our friends over at, whatchamacallit? What's the...
Fetty Scum.
Fetty Scum. No, I'm Petty Scum. No, Fetty Scum is the show.
Yeah, that one was on me. That's my bad.
Keenan, I love our show. And I love this show that we watch, even though I yell about it all the time.
I love this show, too. I also love me some voice actors, since I am a voice actor, and these are some of my respected colleagues.
Ooh, are we getting your segment this week?
We're getting a trifecta of voice actors. Some I should have probably talked about maybe ages ago, but I didn't think of the segment until way later into the podcast, so gonna make up for some lost time here.
Yeah, also it's been over a year.
Right. District Attorney Cameron Bloom is voiced by a gentleman named David McKay, who makes a reappearance in Char's Counterattack, if you remember.
That name sounds familiar. He makes an appearance as an actor or Cameron shows up?
He comes back as the same character.
Oh yeah, do not remember him in Char's Counterattack.
Yeah, he shows up for a very small part in it. When we did the reactions to Char's Counterattack, I brought it up as a hint then that we would see him again.
Well, I'm sure I did not catch it.
His credits are actually very small in comparison to the next two, but still, you ever see the show Eureka? I remember a bunch of my friends talking about that.
I know of Eureka. A friend of mine really loved Eureka.
Yeah, he was in an episode of that show as a character named Dr. Gaz, and that's one of his most notable credits. And we're going to hear him again later in Gundam Wing.
Shut up. Who's he play?
Do I have to tell you? Because I didn't write it down. I wanted to keep it a surprise.
Okay, then it's a surprise.
I could Google it. You could stall for time.
No, it's fine. I would rather it be a surprise. Next actor.
Since Mirai was such a prominent feature in this episode, let's talk about her and her voice actress. Her name is Kathy Westlook.
She's an icon and a goddess because she plays the best character on the show.
Well, some people would agree with you on that, but not because of playing Mirai, even though she does come back in Char's Counterattack as Mirai. You've probably heard of a phenomenon known as My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic.
Oh, I have. It's very, people love that show.
Yeah, she's one of the lead characters in that show, Spike the Dragon. Nice. I've never watched the show. The character kind of reminds me of Spyro a little bit, but I mean, when I was watching like interviews with her, they had like legions of fans that were screaming for her and for Tara Strong and for the other actresses.
Oh, love Tara Strong. Icon Tara Strong recently appearing in Loki.
Oh, really?
Yes, as an animated character.
Oh, that's interesting.
There is a single animated character in Loki, and she does play them, which I'm like, well, good. Bring in the legends, Marvel. Like, but I love that. I love how they got like one of the most legendary like anime voice actresses to bring in the same way that they bring in like big actors to play their regular parts.
By the way, without getting into too much discussion about it, since you brought up Loki, I did watch WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, both excellent. Falcon and Winter Soldier I love a bit more, but that's just my personal take on it.
I love them both. I also saw Black Widow. I really like Black Widow, which I was not prior to the pandemic. Like, you could not pay me to go see Black Widow because I'm so mad that they waited this long to do the movie, and I believe it's only because of the success of Wonder Woman that they find that they want to get some of that cheddar, not because the character deserved the respect to get a movie at the same time all the other guys did, and not after they fucking killed her off, and to do a flashback movie. That annoys me. However, it was still pretty good, and I like Loki too. So I've really enjoyed all of the current Marvel. I've enjoyed Phase 4 so far.
Loki's next on my list. And next on the list I have for Kathy, she plays a lot of characters in the Dragon Ball Ocean dub.
Oh, for real? Like who?
Chaozu, Puar, Young Trunks, Android 19.
So I only would have heard her though as Chaozu and Puar though, because they stopped airing the Ocean dub in America after once the Ginyu Force showed up.
Yeah, and we've mentioned it before with a lot of these actors did come from the Ocean dub cast and would continue to do a lot of those same voices in Canada, because the Ocean dub did keep going while we had the Funimation version. And we will also hear Kathy again in Gundam Wing and Gundam 00. And then the pièce de résistance, Hot Dad.
Yeah!
Hot Dad, a.k.a. Temray.
His hair's so much better in this episode because he doesn't have that fucking mullet from the first episode.
Did you have to interrupt me to talk about hair?
Yes. Keenan, I don't know if you forgot who Hi, I'm Jeffrey. I'm your co-host.
You're right. How foolish of me.
My favorite part of the show is Keenan gets very like in the zone and like ready to like he's like, I'm ready. I'm in it. I'm gonna go through this thing, and then I just come in like a wrecking ball, much like Miley Cyrus, and I just fuck up his world. Continue.
Temray is played by a gentleman named Trevor Duvall.
Well, that name sounds familiar.
And his notable roles include playing Rocket Raccoon in Avengers Assemble, Ultimate Spider-Man, the Guardians of the Galaxy TV series on Disney XD. He was a character in Star Wars Rebels, which it took me a minute to put that together. He plays Hobby, who was Luke Skywalker's wingman on Hoth.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, wow, what a reference.
For some reason, I always thought that was Wedge, but no, that he's with him in Death Star.
He's in Inuyasha as many side characters, and in Ronin Warriors as many side characters, and we will hear him again in Gundam Seed and Gundam Seed Destiny.
Actually, we probably won't. You wanna know why?
Why?
Because the only Gundam Seed that's available is the new dub. Oh wait, didn't you get the old dub?
I would like to surprise you with the fact that I own both of them.
Oh, you did that. Oh, there you go. Oh, surprise for me.
I have the old and new one.
Yes, Keenan, yes.
Oh, I completely forgot about this one with Kathy. I didn't even have this written down. I just had this in the back of my mind. Since I brought up Inuyasha, she's also a voice in Inuyasha. You want to know who she is?
Who?
She's Kagome's mom.
Oh, that's nice.
Mrs. Higurashi. It's very wholesome.
I prefer her grandfather's kick. I fucking love that show. It's such a good show. And honestly, I have had no interest in watching the new reboot about their kids, because like that show just it's just so good from like beginning to end, with some rough patches, but like overall I'm like I feel like when that show ended I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, because Inuyasha went on for a long time.
It did, and then it stopped before it ended, and then finally
it got canceled.
Yeah, and then they finally did the last season, and the last season's very good. It does suck because some of the original voice actors aren't back for it. Like, it's a different voice actor for Kagome, it's a different voice actor for Sesshomaru, I think.
Kirby Morrow was still Moroku, but he sadly passed away. It was years after that, but it was still unfortunate.
What a talent.
But Yashahime, I did watch all of it. Unfortunately, it kind of fell into the same trappings as its predecessor, and it's much shorter, so the problems are a little more apparent.
I just was like, nah, I'm good. It's kind of like they've come out with the new Digimon Adventure, but I thought it was going to be like almost like a mini series, but it's just a full, like, yet again another super long season, but just retelling the first season. I'm like, I feel like for me, if you're gonna do a reboot and you're gonna retell the original, just tell it faster, because I'm not willing. Like, Sailor Moon Crystal is a chapter by chapter like retelling of the manga, so it has that base. But the thing I like about Sailor Moon Crystal is I don't need another 46 episodes of the Dark Kingdom arc. I already got that in the original show. Now give me the manga adaptation where it's just almost like a long movie, as opposed to... So I don't like when the shows go and come back and then they're doing the whole, like, okay, now we need a monster of the week to, like, make for time. I'm like, no, but we did that already. So give me something new, or, you know.
You would think that they would have learned their lesson, considering that Yashahime is not a retelling, it's a sequel. But nope, didn't happen.
Yes. Well, and that's what the thing. It is. It's a sequel, but it's a sequel that I'm like, okay, but we don't need it to be like a weekly... Just make it like 13 episodes and make it good.
It started really strong, but then it kind of started petering out, much like Inuyasha did in its later half.
See, I actually, for Inuyasha, the last season of the original run of Inuyasha is not good.
No, it's really bad.
And the thing I like with Inuyasha, though, is it starts out super duper strong. And for like literally for the first like... Because I'm thinking of it in the way they broke it into seasons for the DVD release, which I do not think is how they were intended as seasons for the actual like creators of the show. And like, there's 7 seasons. The first 3 seasons are all like fucking fire. All of them. Great. Season 4 is when they are totally off book from the manga, and it is a slow run, but it's the shortest season. Then they literally hit the peak of the show with the oh, what the fuck are their names? It's that evil, like, group of assassins.
Oh, the Band of 7 or whatever?
The Band of... Yes. Like, that is, for me, the peak of the show. And they hit it in the second half of the show. And it is so fucking good. And then they never really able to recapture. Like, they have some good moments after that. Like, with Naraku's new spin-off, the kid with the big scythe and the fire... pony, who basically is killed almost immediately in the last season, which I thought was hilarious, because they were like, let's get him out of the way to deal with the reality, like the real shit of the show.
I agree. After the Band of 7, that's, to me anyway, that's where the show fell off a cliff.
Agreed.
And it did literally for a while, because after that show was canceled.
Yeah. I feel like that's not the name of them. It's not the Band of 7, but like, yeah, the Band of... That arc is just...
It feels right to me, but I could be wrong.
She's so good. Such a good... Yeah, well, because they're so good, and then Naraku takes back over charge of being, like, the main villain at the end of that, because that's when he becomes, like, a mountain. And then they kind of try to reset back to, like, the original seasons, but it just does not work as well as they wanted to. Because those 7 were so interesting, and he is not as interesting as the rest of them.
And he's tired as a villain by that point. You know, he's died and come back like so many times, and it just got old.
Yeah, because I think it's at the end of season 3. They think they killed him, and then he doesn't come back till the end of that Band of 7 arc.
Yeah, and then the same thing happens like 4 times over, and I might be exaggerating, but it feels that way. Anyway, this isn't an Inuyasha podcast. This is a Gundam podcast, which...
It could be.
Jeff and I thank you all so much for listening. I guess since I'm running the Twitter, I should probably talk about that, huh?
By the way, King, I would like to point out, even with our new format, we still did clock 2 hours.
Yeah, but at least I feel like this time the discussion was a little bit more interesting, at least to me. I like how I did this new format.
I think we are very interesting, but what I care most about is how much you're enjoying the flow of the show. And I do like the flow of the show.
Yeah, let me be clear. What Jeff is doing never needed to be fixed. I was the one who was looking at my stuff and being like, this isn't really working out for me. And you know what made me think about that was, and you'll hear it more so when you listen to the book club episodes eventually, but I took a lot of what I did with that and applied it to today, and it makes me happy.
Yay!
Not to mention there's going to be so much cut out of this episode anyway.
Gold from start to finish. I don't know what you're talking about.
If you like our podcast gold, you can hit us up on our Twitter, which is at Gundam Guys. No need to worry about hashtags because I'm running it. You can spoil whatever the fuck you want.
But if you want to email, I run the email, and it's thegundamguys@outlook.com. Do not send spoilers, but if you want to talk something spoilery with Keenan, just put spoilers in the title, and I will just forward it over to Keenan, and he will be happy to chat with you.
Absolutely. Other than that, like I said again, it means a lot that everybody has stuck around for our grand return. We're excited to continue the rest of Mobile Suit Gundam and hopefully finish it some point this year. Who knows?
We love y'all. Let me tell you, as awful as Twitter was, just on the baseline, y'all were always so nice about how excited you were for us to come back at some point. And it feels really nice to see how happy people were that we came back. So I love that.
And since I'm running the Twitter, aside from spoilers, you can also send questions or anything that you want me to present to Jeff that's appropriate anyway, that we could talk about in the show.
Woo!
You know, that's one thing that I missed a little bit was reading like listener reviews when we would get them. And, you know, not like I'm asking for them.
I don't know. The last review we got was a real humdinger, Keenan. And we really went out with a bang on that one.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, we got like more after that unfortunately we weren't able to do together because we didn't have our distance set up.
Did you read them on the book club?
I did.
Excellent. See, Keenan's the real. See, Keenan is the heart, the soul, and the flagship of this podcast. I am just riding along for the fun.
People, do not misunderstand. This man that I'm talking to right now, and I'm not exaggerating this, he is one of the funniest people on the planet.
Keenan, thank you. Oh God, that is a. I don't know if I've earned that compliment, but that's so nice. Oh, Keenan.
Legitimately, anytime I talk to you, you make me laugh more than anybody else that I have met in my life. And I've had the pleasure of meeting some very funny people.
By the way, Keenan, have you ever noticed that every episode, we do this at the end of the episode because we are just two of each other's favorite people, and also because we just like shred each other throughout the episode, that at the end we just are always like, oh, Keenan. But literally, and same, you were one of the hardest working people I've ever met. At least on stuff you enjoy, because I remember when we worked together, there was some stuff that you were not as into that would sometimes I'd be like, Keenan, anytime you want to hand that over to me, I'd be really appreciate it.
Yeah. That work environment was not good for my mental health at times.
See, I really flourished in that work environment. You did struggle because remember when you and I were the only two people on one team?
Oh my God.
And I'd be like, Keenan, anytime you want to get that to me. Keenan, anytime. Yeah, I'm here, right? I'm right here. Anytime. I'm ready, Keenan.
I was such a stubborn asshole.
Well, because you know what it was, is because you wanted to get a promotion and you were already in your mind in the next job and you had no interest in the job you were currently in. And I was like, and I had mad respect for your hustle, but also if I was going to have to stay late because you weren't handing me the thing I needed, I was going to kill you.
I was gunning for that job like you wouldn't believe. Well, you do believe, actually, because you were there witnessing it.
I know, I watched it happen. And that's why I always knew that you were going to get a new job soon, because let me tell you, when Keenan wants something, Keenan goes and gets it, because he fucking rules.
Oh, stop.
Yet again, ladies, he's employed. He's very handsome. You can fit him in your pocketbook. He's about 3 feet tall, and
I'm a gremlin.
You'll love him.
Just don't feed me after midnight.
I will be taking applications for his wife at any time. Send them to the email at thegundamguys.com.
That's why we do this show.
Yes, and gentlemen, you can not reach me. No, I'm kidding. You can find me on Tinder and Keenan, we need to leave.
We'll suit up to talk to all of you again.
We'll see you next time.